Welcome back to another episode of the Full Circle Podcast. Um, I think we should just hop right into it. I'll let the next guest introduce herself. Go ahead, go for it.
All right. My name is Lilyana. Um, wait, you want to know like what I do, or?
I mean, I just want to know you. Just talk to him. Let him know who you are. If you want to tell him what you
Alright.
do, go for it. If not, just tell him your name.
I'm a tattoo artist. I do nails as well.
Mhm.
I'm an all-around painter and like creative person.
Mhm.
I dabble in film, just like
Yeah.
shoot pictures for fun with my friends.
Yeah.
Design clothes. Yeah. I don't know. Love fashion. Dip my toes in everything, I guess.
Yeah. Jack of all trades, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all. Lily. Wow, you said your whole name. You said the whole.
I did not say the last
Okay.
bit.
I'm not gonna go there. I guess I'm not gonna go there. I was tempted to.
No.
But I'm excited and I'm happy to have you here.
Happy to
I'm
be
glad
here.
that you were able to pull up because I know, just like I think you have experiences, knowledge, and you have a wisdom in the area that we're diving into today. And I think that what you have to offer, you can definitely bless and help that jack of all trade creative who paints, does tattoos, who designs clothes, right? Who takes film photos and dibbles and dabbles. Because that, to me, I think is a sign of an identity. And I think when you say it, though, it doesn't sound like an identity crisis.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you're very present in all of those areas, and that's what sets you apart.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like it's like all over the place, like I don't feel like I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, so I'm going to do this. Like I want to do all of it and I want to be good at all of it. And I think I am good at all of it. And so like, I don't know, that's a good
Say that.
feeling. But like, I mean, like
Yeah.
obviously there's always room to grow and learn, but it's like, it doesn't feel like I'm like not able to commit to something. Cause sometimes people just like, there's no problem with like trying new things out and like seeing like kind of like what fits with you. But I feel like as an artist and a creative person, people try to box you in to like, oh no, you just paint or you just do nails or whatever it is that you kind of like are known for or like associate with first maybe. And I think it's really important to, if you want to try different things, to do that and to get good at them. And you don't have to ever just do one thing. Like, I think that's a crazy concept.
Yeah, it is a crazy concept. And it's one that definitely keeps those who are insanely talented insecure. It's the type of mentality that keeps those that are insanely talented boxed in, limited in terms of what they think that they can do.
Yeah.
And so to hear you say that you're good at those things, I don't know, for a lot of people, it might take them a lot to even say that they're good at the one thing that they're like really good at.
It took me a lot to say that. Like, I have not always felt that way. And I probably recently got like confident enough in myself to be able to like say that and mean it and not just be like, oh, I want people to think I'm good at these things. But like, I feel confident in the things that I do. Okay. And I think they like feed into each other for sure. Like, that's why I would also encourage like artists and just anyone, honestly, like it doesn't even have to be creative people, because it's like you can work whatever type of 9 to 5 or work in a medical field or something, and I think you should still be able to like tap into like different aspects of you. Like, we're humans, we're supposed to be trying different things and constantly like gaining more knowledge and experiences, and if you want to experiment with something, you should.
Word. Okay, so with that being said, right, I want to dive into a little bit of your origin, and I want to, I guess, hear about your relationship with coming to that sense of confidence that you have now. Because when I first met you,
7th grade.
I mean, bro, that was, geez Louise, that was what, 11 years ago?
Yeah.
Right? 11 years
crazy.
ago? Yeah, it's been a minute. When I first met you, you were, you just, from what I remember, you drew. You were drawing a lot. You were painting too, a little bit. And I think that's all I knew in terms of like creatively what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably all I did. Both my parents are really creative people. My dad does photography and videography, and then my mom is a jewelry designer and a metalsmith. And so I've always been around that, and I like definitely attribute a lot of like either my like creative confidence or freedom
Mhm.
or willingness to like dabble in different things to them, because
Mhm.
they never told me no.
Mhm.
And like I kind of knew, I think by like 11th grade, that I wasn't going to go straight to college, and that I
Mhm.
kind of wanted to like, being creative had to be part of my life in some way.
Mhm.
And so my parents were very encouraging of that, which like I'm endlessly thankful for, because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't have that, or they
Right.
have it from one parent and not the other.
Yeah.
And I thankfully had it from both.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started off drawing and painting always, and I honestly like didn't always think that that would be like my job. Like until I was in like 11th grade, I wanted to be a pharmacist or like something like that.
Word.
Yeah. And then the tattoos and nails obviously like came later. But
Yeah, she did this tattoo, guys. Well, if you're watching it, you can see the tat. She did the tat, man. She's insanely talented, extremely poised in her position as an artist. And from what I know and what I can tell you guys, listeners and watchers, I know she said that she's good at it, but man, she's insanely talented. So, with that being said, I think after all of this is said and done, that you need to walk with the confidence to say, yeah, nah, I'm not just good. Like, this is what I do. Like, because I think personally that this is what you do. Everything that you named off is indicative of just the layers of who you are as a person, creatively, right? Because you are still human. And so you definitely have um, parts and bits and pieces of yourself that you for sure, I know, try to maintain integrity in.
yeah.
You're on a podcast and you don't speak publicly. You don't even show yourself in this way.
No.
I would assume, and I know because you're just this incognito type of person. And I think a lot of people can look at someone like you from the outside looking in, and they could think so many things.
Yeah.
And it's not until you open up your mouth and you say, well, this is who I am, that they actually get to see and understand who you really are.
Definitely.
Right.
I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie. Like I do like, I don't know. I like separation in my life, like my personal life. Anyone that's like near and dear to me, friends that I've known forever, like my family, like that's really important to me, and I like to kind of keep it separate. Like we live where everybody shares everything, like what you eat in the morning to like what you're doing, I don't know, when you're driving, like just, you know, whatever. And I like to have like boundaries with that with myself, because it's really easy to get sucked into it, but it's also like the stuff that's like sacred to me, I like to keep that way. Yeah, I don't really speak or like put myself out there. I don't know. So this is new for me, obviously.
I wish I had a buzzer. I wish I had a buzzer that so I could so I could buzz it, because I think we're making history, bro. Like it's almost like it's impossible to get people that want, or I guess not want, but they enjoy their discreetness, right? Like you enjoy your sacred environment. I mean, that's what you're creating, that's what you have, and you do have boundaries. And it's hard to maintain boundaries, especially when you're talking about discipline in your life.
Yeah.
You have mental health, right? You have art, right? You have relationships, you have family. So you have these things that have the power to, I guess, break that structure, and break what you conjure up so much energy and strength to solidify, right? These things that pop up in your life can have the power to break that veil of, this is my life, this is my bubble that I can in some kind of way control, but I'm comfortable in, I'm safe in. And so I know that the things that I only wanted to, break out the origin in a sense, because I wanted everybody to kind of get a feel for just where you come from, who you are, right? But what I think is important and what I feel is very nuanced and what can be pulled from that is, I want to touch on mental health, right?
Yeah.
I know that that's something that for you is obviously a constant theme in your life. I know you go to therapy, right? I know you have a therapist, and I understand that you have your trials and your tribulations. And like I said, going back to just being this person that has their sacred space, has their surroundings that they can control, they're safe in. For you and your experience, I want to hear about, what was it like when, and then it doesn't have to be anything specific, but when that bubble was broken, when you were dealing with maybe this or that? Like, what was it like for you in a mental health space, understanding that you have this thing that is creeping its way into your...
Well, I've dealt with like mental health since I was like 12, so it's been just like a part of my entire life for real, like, or at least my adult life.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that's just like, it's kind of like a constant thing, you know, like obviously there's good days and bad days.
Yeah.
There's situations where, I don't know, I'm impulsive, so like I do have my bubble, but I also
very impulsive,
make impulsive decisions in terms of like moving.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Talk about it. Well, we'll get there, but you know, crazy.
Just in terms of like, I'll up and move, or, you know, like, I don't know though. I don't know if impulsive is not in like a chaotic way, you know,
Yeah, no,
like I am
chaotic,
very like, I think through everything that I'm going to do. So like, I'm not putting myself in crazy situations. It's more so, it looks crazy from the outside. Like my family will look at it, or people close to me will be like, there's Lily doing something again, like, you know, whatever.
What do you know?
But obviously like mental health is going to like be an aspect of all of that. And I know when I like first moved to New York, and the first summer that I was there, I was very alone, like just because I had just moved to a new place. I didn't know a ton of people. I was learning a new city. I obviously moved there kind of on a whim. I didn't know how long I was going to be there for. So that summer I spent a lot of time by myself, and that, you know, opened a lot of space for like my head to, you know, kind of run wild or like do its thing. And so like dealing with those feelings and thoughts and stuff while you're like away from family, that's the farthest I ever lived. I don't know. It's like, I can only look at it with hindsight, obviously. And that was like, I always have like quite a positive way to look at those like darker times, I think, because it's like it needed to happen in order to get here for sure. But when I was in it, it was terrible, or like it just like is hard. Like I don't know if there's like really a specific way to describe it, like
to encapsulate that whole idea.
Yeah.
Because I think about like, right, when perfect example, like, yeah, you're alone, or you at least felt that way. You know, you're moving X amount of miles from home, and
mental health is already super isolating, you know, like you're already like in that, and you feel like you're alone, or you feel like you can't go to people, which is why it's also really important, you know, everybody says this, but to have like core people around you that are not only there for your ups, you know, like you can go to them when just kind of popping off with yourself.
And mental, like, so we're talking about now facets of mental health, right? Because that's just the general broader spectrum of the word, right? You're talking about anxiety, social anxiety, you have regular anxiety, panic attacks, things of that nature, right? Where you're having these life situations come at you like a locomotive out of nowhere. And I can only imagine you being far from home for the first time on a whim, impulsively. Not chaotically, of course not.
Never.
Right. And dealing with something so far from home that I would assume that even when you're away, right, from home, you're trying to make that new place your home.
Yeah.
And so there's a new battle there where you're not comfortable and you don't have people, right? And honestly, you might feel like you don't even have yourself. Yeah. And that's tough. And I can relate to that because, you're right. Mental health is a very isolating thing. It's something that has the power to make you feel like you're the only one in the world and nobody else is there.
Yeah.
And it can become debilitating in a way where you're disassociative from everything. You don't even know how to walk down the street anymore. You don't know how to pick up your phone. You can't text back. You don't know how to talk to your friends. You don't even know how to console your friends because little do they know, they haven't consoled you. But who's to say that they didn't console you when in reality, the reason why they didn't, or they didn't know how to, or didn't even know that they needed to, was because you're so locked into your own mind about what you're going through that inadvertently you may seem better, but you're way worse.
Yeah.
But you're not communicating it.
So that's definitely something that, like, specifically the like first few months of being in New York, like, definitely taught me that one, like, you have to reach out to like the people around you, because just like you said, like if you don't say anything, you're not going to be heard. Like there's no way to like, I mean, people can be super close to you and still not know that something's going on. Especially I feel like, at least for me, since I've dealt with that for so much of my life, like I'm pretty good at concealing it. Like it's not gonna like, it might take over my head like inwardly, but outwardly, like I still know how to go to work and I still know how to like take care of my life or whatever. So like it definitely taught me to communicate with the people around me, and like it's okay to be vulnerable. It also showed me that like there are certain people that have to be removed, or like, you know, like you gotta have solid people around you, and like those moments where they're not gonna come up all the time, but when they do come up, people really show like how they're there for you. And
it's important to have people that you can do life with. That's what I call it. People that you can literally do life with. People that not only know you on your good days, but that not only do they know you on your bad days, but they don't mind being there.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between space fillers and actual friends. People who, because I don't know, okay, let me backtrack. So you have somebody in your life who's there for you, like a friend, a good friend, best friend, and because you're going through what you're going through so intensely, you then put yourself in a position where you feel like you shouldn't even feel this way, or you feel like how you feel is an inconvenience for the person that you're trying to share that space and become comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
And I think what can come out of having that mindset when you're with someone who can essentially be there for you, or people that can be there for you, is that you block yourself from getting that help, but you never really get to see truly who's there for you in that way. Like going back to what you said, if you don't speak up, right? So I think you can psych yourself out of getting help naturally.
Yeah, and it's also like a lot more people deal with a lot more stuff than we like really realize. Like, yeah, mental health can be super isolating.
Yeah.
But if you're vocal with the people around you, you'll realize that like you're not the only one, which is super helpful when like you do need like extra support, because it's like your friends deal with similar things or your family members deal with similar things. Might not be the same exact thing. They might like deal with different aspects of that, but a lot more people like have those experiences. You have to remember that, especially when you're like, when you're doing well too, or like just in general, like dealing with people, like you have to give people grace, and like you have to move like gently with people. And like it's not letting people walk all over you. Like that's not what I mean at all, but like everybody has like a silent battle, as like cliche as that might sound, but like everybody deals with something. So like give people like time and space for that.
Yes, grace. That's super important. Because we're all human. We're not all better or less than. I think we're all equal in ways, because we all bleed the same. And everybody does have a silent battle, right? Which is why, again, I emphasize the doing life with people. When you do something with somebody, you're being intentional in it. I think when you're just there, right?
I mean, you can tell too, like definitely as we get older as well, who's there for like a good time, or who's there for just like, oh, you're cool, like you do this, like I want to be around that, versus like, no, I see you as like the person that you are, the aspects of you. Like I've dealt with many people that want to be around me because they think, oh, tattooing is cool, or your style is cool, like whatever, it's like idea. Surface level, or it's like a perception, like, and I think that's why I stay like super, like I distance myself on social media, because like I've always dealt with people having like little perceptions of me, and then they meet me in person, or they want me to like be this like image that they've created for me, versus like the person that I really am. They don't give me that space. It's important to like be around the people that are around you for the right reasons, like,
that see you,
right, and aren't just like, oh, Lily does this thing, so it's cool, so I want to be around her to see what I can get out of that, versus like, what about, I always think about like, what if I didn't do any of the stuff that I do, and I just wanted to like be super regular, or like completely change my life or whatever, like I know that the people that are close to me would be around me for that, regardless.
That's good. Because they're not looking at, and I said this on the first pod, we kind of went this direction where I was, I boil it down to the things that come with us, right? Like in the beginning of the podcast, you were like, do I say what I do or should I say what I do?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so funny because that's where our mind initially goes when we're introducing ourselves, when we are even with people that because I put it this way, right? When you are with people that you're close with, I know at least in my experience, I battle with people not, or I guess me having this perception of the people that I would consider closest to me, them not really understanding me to the point where they truly respect me in a way where they're receiving who I actually am, right? Where you know how you grow with somebody and they have this idea of you from when you were younger.
Yeah.
Or I would just say, you know how family treats you that way, where they
Yes.
look at you like you were 16 still and you're 29, 25, 26, and you're still 16 to them.
Crazy.
Right? Nuts. Yeah. And so I boil it down to that where it's like your friends will do that to you in a way. Well, in my experience, my friends would do that to me in a way where they only saw me as this guy that was that guy, right? And so this person that I am, and I'm 24 hours a day, and granted, I don't hang out with them every single day. This person that I'm constantly growing into and that I'm becoming, they don't have the luxury of seeing every day, all day. So it may have been a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, I don't know, and since the last time we hung out, and then they see me a month later, and they're like, oh, you don't like that no more? You don't want to do that no more? You don't?
Yeah.
I thought you, but back, you were, and it's like, nah, bro, like, this is me, right?
I think that comes out, like, really subtly, too, like, because it'll be, like, I think people hold on to, like, others in, like, how they fit into their life. Like, they will, like, oh, this is the Lily, that's my friend that I know. Like, you're not giving me the space to be, like, just Lily, you know? Like, people, like, want you to be something for them a lot. And I don't think people always realize that they're doing that. But sometimes that can be, like, hard to, like, is that weird, like, tug where it's like, okay, do I feel like I have to live up to that? Or do I just be myself and sometimes lose people out of that? Which is what, like, it's important to always be yourself. And whoever sticks along is, like, the real ones. But yeah, I feel like people can kind of try to trap you in, like, an image that they want to, like, keep you in. And that can be hard because then it's like, if you want to bring it back to mental health, when you're dealing with, like, certain things, but your friends or your family has this perception of you being, like, a happy person or a goofy person or this little kid version of you or whatever that doesn't deal with these things, it can be hard to feel comfortable to, like, kind of go to them. And, like, or how do you even start that conversation sometimes? Because
you don't have the practice with them to do that, right?
Yeah, or, like, I will be in, like, a really negative headspace or just, like, I need someone there, I need someone around me. How do you, like, pick up the phone and, like, okay, like, it's not like, hey, what's up, best friend? It's like, no, like, I'm, like, really dealing with something. But how do you even say that? Because it's hard. Like, you have to kind of get past, like, pride and humiliation and stuff like that, and kind of just, like, people will surprise you. Like, on the good side of that, people will surprise you and be there for you.
Yo, if you like what you're listening to and you want more, come join the Full Circle community. Link is in the bio. I'm there, team's there. We kick it, we have fun, we have conversation. And overall, we just hang out. If you want to be around like-minded people in the community, then do what's best for you. Join the community. I'll see you there. That's where my mind was going. Sound like a broken record player just now. That's where my mind was going when you were saying that people will surprise you because you never really know. You never really know. And I would even beg to say, and I want to ask you this question: do you think that it's because, or I guess, do you think that the fear of extreme, like, openly giving yourself to that friend that has seen you at your best and that your relationship is geekly fun and all this other stuff, do you think that that fear of really showing them what you're going through derives from maybe, I guess, the foundation of that particular relationship? Like, did you meet that person? And I'm generally asking, like, do you think that it's when you meet that person that you set the tone for the relationship to the point where, oh, wow, I'm actually having a bad day and I haven't, and I guess in the duration of our relationship, so now I have to, or I should, or I want to go to this person, but I don't know how because we've never really established that.
Yeah, you guys haven't experienced that together.
You haven't experienced that together,
like,
right?
Yeah. To an extent, yeah. I mean, I feel like there's, like, I don't know. I've had a lot of interesting friendships in my life, or
Mhm.
just like, like I try to like always take lessons out of
Mhm.
when they end or anything like that. So I think I'm at a point now where I would feel comfortable regardless if I had experienced,
Mhm.
a bad day with them
Yeah.
yet or not,
Yeah.
going to anybody. But I also, I don't know, with like mental health specifically,
Yes.
like I found that like with my friends now, and I've like recently like had more like new people come into my life, especially
Mhm.
after like getting home from New York and kind of like
Mhm.
re-entering into like,
Mhm.
I really dislike this phrase, but like the scene here, just like people and being social.
Yeah.
I've had a lot more like new people in my life,
That's good.
and like it's great. And I also like I'm comfortable enough with myself and what I deal with to like be open with them a lot sooner. Like I don't really try to conceal it because like it's a big part of me. It's who I am,
Yeah.
and I don't want to feel like ashamed about it. I don't want to feel embarrassed about it because like dealing with like I specifically deal with like a lot of like depression and stuff, and
Mhm.
like I don't
Mhm.
want to be embarrassed about that. Like that's like a normal thing that
Mhm.
happens to a lot of people,
Yeah.
and like the people that are close to me need to know that because they need to know like
Mhm.
I don't know, it's a part of me. Like it's just
Mhm.
as much as like tattooing or
Yeah.
nails or
Yeah.
my interests or my favorite movies. Like
Yeah.
it should be a little more normalized just because
Yeah.
like it's already a hard thing to deal with. I don't want to think I'm going to be embarrassed in front of my best friends for dealing with it. Like,
Yeah.
so like you kind of know what you're getting into. Not
Yeah.
that it's crazy. Like I
Yeah.
know how to
Yeah.
like manage it on my own. I don't
Yeah.
try to put that on other people in my life, but I
Mhm.
think it is important for the people close to me to know that I deal with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about that is that the people that will probably judge you for going through the things that you go through are people who probably go through those things, if not the same level, way more intensely.
Yeah, and I'm
Right?
sorry, but if you judge somebody for going through some
Yeah.
mental things or life things,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it could be you tomorrow, not in like a dark way, but like
Word. Nah.
everybody
Nah.
goes through things
Yeah.
in life really will come at you fast, whether it's
Yes.
mental health stuff
Yes.
or just like life situational things. Like
Mm-hmm.
never think that you're untouchable because
Mm-hmm.
life is crazy. Like
Life is crazy.
and that's why you have to
Yeah.
move with grace because like even like I think about like small interactions and stuff like okay, we're in a coffee shop. Think about like you go into a coffee shop and like the barista's like have an attitude with you or something like that. But it's like
Yeah.
anybody could be dealing with
Yeah.
anything,
You
and
never know.
like you just have to like don't give that back to somebody,
Right.
like don't like mirror somebody's like bad
Yeah.
energy because now it's just two people being angry. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
weird, I don't know.
No, you're right. And I think a lot of that has to do with just not being aware. Grace is huge in this, and I love that you keep bringing that up because in order to have grace, you have to have awareness.
Yeah.
You have to have awareness of other people. You have to have awareness of feelings. You have to have awareness of just the practicality of going through something, right? So if I'm at a coffee shop and I talk to the barista and she's like tripping on me, right? Like she has this attitude, She gives me my coffee and it's like she shakes it and spills on the counter, and it's just I could either be mad at her, I could make her day worse, and I could feel what's the word, vindictive, right? Enough to do that, where oddly enough, doing the negative thing satisfies me. That's evil. Or I could take a step back and say, it's fine. Are you okay? Because if I'm aware, then I might be able to discern whether or not that barista is dealing with something. Because granted, everybody, you've experienced coming to coffee shops or fast food places or just restaurants, and people just don't want to work all the time. You can see it on their face. You can see it in how they act. And I get that, right? Because most people are maybe making ends meet. Most people are dealing with a breakup. Most people might be, I don't know, dealing with a loss in a family. Like anything could be happening.
Yeah.
And they may be depressed about their own life. Like they're not where they want to be at. There's so many different possibilities of going through something, to the point where I think, at least now in this social climate, I think mental health needs to be something that's on the front of everybody's mind. We can't make somebody else's issues their fault all the time, right? There are issues and there are things that come up that, like you said, they come so fast. And there are things that I believe that you can definitely place on yourself, and not in a way where you're making yourself depressed, you make yourself anxious. But I'm saying, like, yeah, you know, you had $10 in your bank account and you spent the last $10 on some cookies. Like, why would you do that? And you got to pay rent, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just decisions like that. And then there's just like things that just you can't make up. But I think about having grace for those people and then having grace for yourself.
Yeah.
And having grace for yourself, that means you're aware of yourself. So that means that you know that, man, I'm going to project onto somebody what I'm feeling. So let me take a step back. Let me take a breather.
Well, that kind of like segues into like accountability, because I think there's a lot of that with like mental health as well. At least I've like learned that with myself, because it's like, yeah, I could be going through something, but it really isn't on anyone else to like fix, or like, you know, I still have to be aware of like the way I'm treating people when I'm going through something. I'm not going to bring negative energy into other people's lives and stuff, but you have to be able to like, I don't know, kind of like touch base with yourself, you know?
Touch base with yourself.
Before you can touch base with other people.
Word. It's like, what's the I lost it. Never mind. Sorry. But I was going to ask you and segue to that, even because accountability is huge. It's hard because, again, that has to do with awareness. You got to be aware of yourself to be accountable to yourself. But I think what's more important too, you have to have people around you that will hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Having people around you that will hold you accountable are the people that you're not afraid of letting them see who you are. I'm not afraid of calling my boy up and being like, yo, I'm tripping this week. I don't know, I made this really bad decision and this is the after effect. What should I do? I need your help. Like, not being afraid to admit what would seem like is this even a word? Unadmittable? Is that a word?
It can be.
It can be, right? That is a word. As of today, if it's not, it is. Check me later. Anyway.
Call Webster.
Okay. Tell them to call me. How about that? But just saying the things that you don't think need to be uttered or can be uttered to the person that you will call your friend, that you trust, having those people know that about you, whatever it is a grounds for accountability. But I think even on their side of it, them holding you accountable speaks to their character, because not all friends will hold you accountable. Some friends will just be right with you in the darkness. Some friends will be right with you in your mess. And they will make you feel either like, bro, it's good. Like, you're fine. Like, you're good. Don't worry about it. Or if you did something that you're not proud of, or if you are not sure of something, you need to have somebody who's like, yeah, man, I'm not sure either. I don't think that's a good decision. I think you should have went that way. It's okay. I mean, we can figure this out, but I just want you to know that next time, don't do that. Yeah. Like, having somebody that gives you that sort of counsel is health. It should be in every relationship, but it's hard to find, because in order to have somebody that does that in our life, we have to kind of do it to ourselves first.
Yeah, and both parties have to be comfortable, like, with themselves and with each other, you know. So that just like, I mean, you have to build the base with that, with like transparency and already having accountability with yourself. Yeah. Just making sure, I don't know, like, if you have somebody in your life that's like just gonna like co-sign everything you do,
right?
That's not great.
Yeah, nah.
I don't think. I mean, like, obviously support is great and all, but like, if you just have that one friend that's like, yeah, wild out, yeah, do this crazy stuff, yeah, stay up late with when you have work, or even like crazier stuff.
Don't drink water. It's not good for you.
Oh my god.
Like, what?
People that don't drink water
wild.
Scare me.
They're scary. Yeah.
Why don't you like it? It tastes like nothing.
Different breed. Different breed.
No, having just like a blind co-signer in your life is really dangerous. Like, steer clear of those people.
Word. And talk about people, right? I know that you and I spoke on this before. You go to therapy. You have a therapist.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that because I guess, and I know for me at least, as a Black man, therapy growing up was not big in my household. My family weren't big on going to therapy. My father was not an advocate for it. So he was always speaking against it. And so my relationship with, I guess, understanding the effects of it, or at least like the what's the word? The use of it.
Like the connotation around it.
Yeah, it was just like not good. And so for me, my whole experience, I've only ever been to therapy once. I'm in therapy now as well, but I'm looking for that right fit for me. So I'm in that process right now, but I want to hear from you, like your experience with it, and just, enlighten us about it and tell us more.
I started going when I was really young. So like I went through that whole like perfect fit process like a long time ago. My parents are both pretty like supportive, which is definitely helpful because I don't know, I think I was so young that it wasn't even like none of my friends had talked about that. And like also I felt like it was kind of like I was in trouble like going because I was so young, like, and none of my friends were, and so I was like, why am I like why? Like I knew why, you know. For like how am I trying to say this? Like I knew I needed to be there and needed somebody to like go through those things with, but it felt weird because it was like kind of like an unspeakable thing too, and probably in a different way obviously than like what you're talking about, but none of my friends talked about it. It wasn't until like 9th or 10th grade that like one of my friends like brought up randomly that she was like going to therapy, and I was like, I never said anything, I didn't say that I went to, but it was like a silent like relief because I was like, oh my god, like I'm not the only person. I also think that there's been like points in my life where like I've been like, oh, I don't need to go anymore. Like, I'm good. Like, I got a handle on this. But, like, I can still continue to go. And that's, like, my therapist has told me that that's, like, it's good to continue. Like, I think everybody can benefit from therapy, whether you, like, actively deal with something or whatever. Like, I would suggest everybody goes just because it's really important to, like, have that third party that's, like, removed from your life. Like, whether you're dealing with job stuff, mental health stuff, like, life situations, crazy people, like, whatever, like, I don't know. It's been the most beneficial, healthy thing. It's really shown me how like my mind works, not just in like a crisis or like when I'm depressed or dealing with something or anxious, but just in general. Like, why do I think this way? Where did this habit come from? It's helping in relationships, friendships, like learned behavior, like everything, and like having that understanding of myself. I can move a lot more confidently, like in other aspects of my life. You know, or like feel like I can dive into certain things. I know my limits, whether it's with a person, with an environment, like anything like that. Like, I don't think I would have got to that point as early. Like, I'm 24 and I've had a pretty good, like, mental understanding of myself for quite a while. I don't think I would have got to that point without that experience of, like, being in therapy. So,
wow. It's so funny because therapy, I think generally when you hear the word therapy, it's such a heavy word because you go to lay down the heavy things, right? Essentially.
Not always. I mean, some weeks I'm in there just catching up with my therapist because, like I said, like I don't know, like sometimes, like it's like building a healthy habit, you know.
That's good. I never heard of that. I never heard it that way, and that's what I was alluding to. Essentially, is like you at least think going into it, because not everybody obviously has that relationship with therapy. Starting out. But you at least going into it like preparing to be like, okay, I gotta tell him this, I gotta tell him that, I gotta, and then once you become, I guess, seasoned in therapy, I guess, like, I don't know, I think it's weird to say that, but yeah, when you become seasoned, become a veteran, right? When you become, right, you develop that where it's like, oh yeah, I'm just developing a good habit now. Like this is just a checkup, or I understand myself not only in the bad and the ugly, but in the good and the beautiful. Right. And I love that perception of therapy because I think it's so welcoming and it's so inviting. And as I said before, for me, like, and I only emphasized me being a black male because as a black man, like nobody in my life up until honestly, maybe until this last year ever brought up therapy to me in a way where it felt like it was for me. And also like in the black community, it's something that is, I think now it's not so frowned upon in that sense where we're used to it growing up, but I think people are making efforts to emphasize it in a way where, no, we need it because most black men don't think that they need it or they don't agree with telling somebody their issue or what they would say, what's wrong with me. And having that relationship with having that relationship with tribulation or hardship I think can get to a very toxic place, because now you're talking about things that are very human in a way where you're saying what's wrong with me, and nothing's wrong with you.
Yeah, it's
Nothing's
more
wrong
like,
with you if you cry,
how do I
right?
work? Like, how does my
Yeah.
brain work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having that awareness, like you said, and I can see that. I could definitely see it on you. You have a poise when you talk about it, where you've gotten to that understanding and that grounding about just your mind. Because you know they say your brain stops developing completely when you're 25. So it's like only
Right.
down. No, I'm just kidding.
Almost there.
Almost there, and then it stops. You know, so just
Few
have
months
fun while
left.
you can. Like this last year, but no, it's great to see, because hearing you and say your age, and I'm turning 24. I'll be 24 this year. I don't think it's as popular to be that aware
Yeah.
in your early 20s and going into your mid 20s. Like some people rather be oblivious to what it is that was holding them back, right?
Ignorance.
Some people choose ignorance. Yeah, ignorance is bliss, right? And so to hear you speak on that awareness and being aware of yourself in a way where, yeah, you faced yourself already and you're continuing to, I assume, it's encouraging. And I hope that somebody finds encouragement in that. I know I did, because you're not the only person. You're not the only person that is in this boat of, nah, it's cool to actually know what's happening. I mean, like,
I'm so thankful for it.
There you go.
It really has changed my life, but also I say all that to say, like, it took a long time. Like I said, been in it since I was 12, and obviously I was like gaining awareness
12 years
through
old.
that. But I don't think it was until like 21, 22 where I like kind of got the full picture, you know? So that's like 10 plus years of like,
yeah, you
just
stand.
going.
Yeah, you there. You can write a book. Yeah. But I want to ask you, how are you feeling? Where has your mental health been, like on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, what's your life like right now mentally? Where you at?
It's interesting right now because like, not for nothing, I think this past like 6 months to a year has been like kind of difficult. I've been in like kind of like a not so great headspace, but at the same time I've had a lot of like really great things happen. Like I've mentioned, like I started doing nails, I tattoo. I'm able to like be creative full time kind of now, which is
tattoo. She did this.
which is really, I'm super thankful for. And I didn't like, I always wanted that, but I didn't know if it would ever happen in my life, or like when it would happen, or if, you know, like being an artist, like you could get successful when you're 50, like, or like you spend half your life trying to like, I don't know. I've been able to become a working artist in the past like year in a way that I haven't before, and I'm super thankful for it. I'm super thankful for like the opportunities I've been given, the people that like really support me and are around me creatively and in life. But there's a like flip side to it in the past like 4 months where like this winter was really rough. I don't think just because like the season and stuff like that, and like I don't know, I've kind of had to like deal with that while dealing with really great things, and it's difficult. Like I haven't been feeling great. I haven't like been as social as I was maybe this time last year and stuff, and you know, it's like an ebb and flow. I'm used to that. I've dealt with it for long enough where I like know that there's like other side to it, but sometimes it's really exhausting thinking about like it is an ebb and flow, but that it's always going to be that way. Like my life is always going to consist of that, and like as comfortable as I might be with dealing with it, that's kind of like a tiring thought too, that it's like it's always going to be an up, it's always going to be down, it's always going to be up, it's always going to be down. So
interesting. You said it's interesting. That I'm glad that you're able to encapsulate your words, even though
this is really crazy to talk about, not for nothing. Like
yeah, absolutely.
At least for me.
No, I feel that, and I mean, I'm thankful that you're comfortable enough to share that, because that can be hard to share. That can be hard to be vulnerable. But I know that, and this is my thing, right? I know that this is our relationship where we have the conversations, right? We meet up, we talk, we chop it up, we catch up, you know, and not afraid to go there. But I think what I know that I guess this is right. You being on full circle and what it means. This is the space I feel like for you to do it. Maybe in a way where I guess not looking at it from the perspective of you trying to preserve that experience, which you have every right to do, but maybe looking at it from the perspective of my experience may not be isolated. There may be somebody else that is going through the exact sort of thing as I am. They may describe their experience with their mental health the last 6 months as interesting and why it goes their way. It's up and down and just having these different blocks, right, in the path. But one thing about feelings and one thing about this roller coaster of emotions that we can go through is that what goes up comes down, comes back up. That's what I say, right? You know how they say what goes up must come down? Well, I say what goes up comes down, but comes right back up in the same way like a roller coaster. And so if we're looking at it truly in the context of what a roller coaster does, it keeps going and it fluctuates. Goes up, goes down, and it keeps going. Then it goes again, then it goes again, and it goes again, right? So in the same way I connected to emotions, feelings, mental health, it's a never-ending cycle. I don't think anybody's ever going to be completely like blissfully happy in life forever, right? I think we're going to have our seasons where we are at the top. We're going to have our seasons where we feel like we're at the bottom. But all throughout this conversation, what's important, and I think what can add to those experiences is having the people, right, that want to be there, that choose to be there, that are intentional when they are there, and having the awareness around us, in ourselves, for ourselves, to be able to go and get that help, go to therapy, right? I journal, I write, and that helps me out a lot to write down my feelings because sometimes I know I have a podcast, I know that I like to have conversations or whatever, but I don't really like talking a lot all the time. You know, I like to just write things down. If I don't like to just always verbalize what I'm feeling, sometimes it's easier for me to just write it down.
Yeah.
Right? That helps me. That's a release. Right? And so in the same way, and I would assume too in therapy that your therapist may have given you like activities to do and things to do to release or to confront this or to confront that.
Yeah.
Right? So
I definitely find that, like, I mean, the gym is also a huge aspect
fire.
of my life.
Shout out to the gym rats, man. We go to the gym over here.
But it's
yes, gym. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I got excited. Love the gym.
But it's definitely like more of a mental reason that I go there. Like, it helps a lot, you know. And so I think finding like certain outlets that, you know, the gym like always makes me feel very like connected to myself, which is important because when you're dealing with like something that's so in your head, it's so emotional. Like you said earlier, you can kind of disassociate, not even just from like people around you and like your friends, but like your own body. Like, that's happened to me before. It just kind of feels like I'm so in my head, it's so clouded that like, I don't know, the gym like can bring you back in. So I guess finding like those outlets where it's not always, you don't always have to talk to somebody about how you feel, or you don't always have to like be in those emotions and feed into them. That's but like finding like healthy ways to like I love cooking, and like that's a good way to like, you know,
you cook?
Yeah.
Straight
to like get out of your head and like do something like interactive, you know, just like build a healthy like lifestyle.
Didn't you tell me that you squatted like 405? You deadlift 315, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
She bench presses 275.
Really crazy.
That's insane. I mean, that's unbelievable. It's like uncanny.
It is.
And your art, that's like, somebody get this girl a protein shake. She needs a protein shake next to her painting. She needs to just paint and drink protein. Anyway, that's good. Yeah, no, you're right. The gym is a good outlet. I relate to that. You know, the gym is definitely a place where you can blow off steam, right? Like you can physically just give off that stress.
Yeah, it's forming a healthy habit because I think a lot of people that deal with mental health, you're trying to escape your head somehow, some way. And, you know, sometimes that can like steer you to not so healthy habits. And so to either balance those out or, you know, check yourself and make sure you're treating yourself kindly, because there's days that like I will be so in my head or feel really down or whatever, but like just like therapy is a healthy habit. When I feel good, I go. When I don't feel good, I go. Same with the gym. Like You feel good, you go. You don't feel good, still go, because you're not going to get the results you want if you don't. Same thing with therapy.
Therapy's tough for me.
Of course.
It's been tough because I'm trying to find the right fit. It's hard. It's hard.
That process can be like exhausting in itself, because it can kind of feel like, oh, this isn't meant for me for real, because like it shouldn't be hard to like figure this out. I'm trying to get help, like,
yeah,
or like I'm trying to find, it can be exhausting to start over.
And you don't want to keep trauma dumping on people and then them not be the fit.
You can't think of it that way though, because that's what they're
I
there
can't?
for.
Why not?
I mean, I guess if that's how you
Why
think
can't I
about
think about it that way? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
It's just like, that's what they're there for, regardless if they're like a good fit or not. And I think that's like important that you said that, because I think people can often feel like it is like a trauma dumper or something like that, or like they're inconveniencing. Even like your therapist is there for that, to like help you regardless of like what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I agree with you. You're right. I shouldn't think that way. Thank you for that counsel. I appreciate that advice. It's duly noted. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. For me, I've just come to terms with recent things in my life that I'm like, whoa, that affected me. You know, when I was a kid, that really like shifted and shaped how I think about this thing. This is coming out of me in this area in my relationship, or, oh, this is why I like to do this so much, because I remember when I was this old, this happened, or I did that, or I saw that. And there's so many things that I'm coming to realization with now that it almost feels like it's just rushing into me, and I don't know what to do with it. Don't know how to really give it context.
So it's like a recent thing where it's just kind of like pieces are kind of like falling, because I've heard that from like people in our age recently from other people. I don't know, so it's kind of cool to hear that.
Yeah, it's almost like, because I'm definitely so aware of myself, and sometimes I would even think that I'm almost so aware, and I don't want this to sound crazy or pretentious, because it's not, I promise, but I feel like I'm so aware of myself that I don't need a therapist, if you get what I'm saying. Like that mentality. Not like I'm not saying I don't need a therapist. I'm just saying like I'm so aware of myself that hearing somebody respond to me about something that I said, I'll be like, nah, I don't think that's it, man. I don't feel that way. Like, I'm just so aware of myself to the point where I'm, I guess, not combative, but it's tough for me to sit there and receive something from somebody. And I don't know, maybe it's the way that I listen. Maybe it's the way that maybe it's the way that person listens to me, that they're listening to diagnose me, or they're listening to give me this response. And that's kind of what I feel sometimes.
It sounds like you just know yourself, which I can relate to, because I feel like very secure in myself and I know myself. And sometimes I'll be in therapy and my therapist will say something and I'm like, that doesn't really hit. Or no, I don't feel that way.
That ain't it. Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, it's just a different way of thinking about things sometimes. I had to realize that too, is like sometimes she'll say something that is kind of like, I don't know if I think that way. But it will trigger another thought, and I'm like, oh wait, but this makes sense for the way I think about this other situation. Or like, I don't know, like having like a third party that's just removed from your life and kind of like can give you those little like, I don't know, like touchstones or something. Like it's like good to have a sounding board, you know, and like even if you are talking about stuff, it's good to know that maybe you don't agree with what they're saying. It's like, no, I'm pretty secure in this and this emotion, this feeling. That's like,
you don't know what you're talking about. Right. Yeah. No, I never said that. That's just in my mind. I think that sometimes. I don't know. Whatever.
But it's good to know, doesn't it feel good to like, if somebody questions that and you're like, nope, I definitely feel this way.
And you're confident about it, right?
You know you feel
absolutely.
That way. Because sometimes, and it's like nice when it's coming from a third party that's not like your partner or your friend or whatever, because they're always going to have like, they're invested in your life in different ways. And so you don't know, I feel like I can trust the responses I get from myself with conversations with my therapist almost more than other people that are close to me, because it's just like they don't have like another reason to say what they're saying,
right?
Or she doesn't have another reason to say what she's saying. So
Got it.
Like it's kind of like an organic conversation.
Wow. I will take heed to everything you just said. That was really good. I really appreciate your input and insight because you are 12 years in the game. And so you're a veteran. I will literally be the rookie and I'll take your advice.
I'm
Thank
not
you.
trying to talk at you like that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I wish we had another hour, but I think that everything that we went over in this conversation, I think has been really, really good for me. It's been fruitful. I've had certain revelations and I was just excited to hear your insight about it. And I knew that's why we were here. So I think you served the Full Circle podcast well. You're a part of the team. You're a part of the family, right? And we love that you came and shared yourself with us. I appreciate you as a friend. Glad that you're in my life because you solid, man. You're really solid, and you hook me up with advice, and you give me insight to things creatively, and we're able to just bounce off of each other in that way. But also, you're just super loyal, and so I appreciate you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
right?
for having me.
Everybody that listened and everybody that is watching, go to therapy. No, I'm kidding. Go to therapy if you feel like you need to go to therapy. Okay, don't just go to therapy, whatever. But no, seriously, take heed to these words, please. Comment, ask questions. Hit up Lily, like she does tattoos. She does commission work. She's in the Detroit area. If you want to plug yourself, you can. You can let them know who you are.
Yeah, so my Instagram is boss.cupid. You can hit me up for tattoos. I do nails through Finesse Nails Detroit. Yeah.
Shout out Finesse Nails Detroit.
Thanks.
You heard? Yeah. God bless. Godspeed. We out.